Welcome again and thank you for joining our webinar here at Infosim. Our topic today is StableNet Release 8.3. My name is Jessica Oswald. I am Information Designer with Infosim and I will moderating today's event. Joining us from our headquarter office in Würzburg is my colleague Matthias Schmid, co-founder and solution manager with Infosim. Good afternoon to Matthias and a very warm welcome to the webinar.
Good afternoon, Jessica.
Before I hand over things to Matthias, I have a couple of things I want you to know. First off, you are muted when joining our audience in order to keep down the background noise. So to answer your questions, please use the question window of the GoToWebinar application. As usual, as we will be taking care of all of your questions by email at the end of today's webinar. So please don't hold back and let us know if you have a question or remark at any time. Also, please note that this event is being recorded and all of you will be notified tomorrow via email, including a link to that recording. That's all from my end so far, so I would like to go ahead and hand over control to Matthias. Matthias, are you ready to take over now?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Before I start with the agenda, I want to give you a little background information about our company. Infosim was founded 2003 as a project spin-off from the University of Würzburg. We are a privately owned company servicing customers worldwide. Our main product is a unified network and service management solution called StableNet. Our headquarters is in Würzburg, Germany, and this is also where all the development takes place. We also have offices in Singapore, Austin, Texas. So around 100 employees worldwide. And as you can see, we have moved last month into a new building to give us more space to expand. Today's agenda has 4 topics. At first, I want to give you an introduction to our new SNEA concept, version 2. Then I will show you new features in StableNet 8.3 and show them then also later on in a live demo. At the end, I will give you an outlook about the features we are currently working on and what you can or what we will see in one of our next releases. So at first, I start with the SNEA version 2. The SNEA version 2 is a concept based on Intel hardware instead of the ARM hardware which we used for the SNEA version 1. It's a very reliable hardware and software combination and has the advantage that it can meet your specific hardware requirements very easily. So if you, for example, require a second LAN port or WLAN port or connectivity, that is not an issue anymore. And this allows an easy deployment of large number of agents in your network. And the whole concept is based on the StableNet standard StableNet agent installer. So updating is very easy for you. So this new concept brings many advantages to you, especially if you want to deploy an agent structure in your network. Now I want to show you the new features we have in StableNet. At first, in the area of AOX and vulnerability definitions, we now introduced the CVSS, the Common Vulnerability Scoring System, version 3. As you can see, we now also support this version 3, which has additional elements, categories, and values. So it is very easy to put official vulnerabilities defined in the version 3 into StableNet. In the area of configuration jobs, we have now new and also enhanced commands which can be used. At first, we have now a strict separation between internal and custom variable. This improves the clarity and makes the maintenance of your scripts much easier. We have, for example, an IP transformation element available. Here you can see some examples. So if you have an IP address and you want to know the next valid IP address based on this, you can easily use this IP transformation element with the calculation of +1, and then you get from 127.0.0.1 to 127.0.0.2. If you want to get a subnet out of a network definition and you have 10.1.2.15/24 and you want to know the subnet on which this is based, then you will receive from this information the transformation to 10.1.2.0. And if you want to get a net mask from this network definition, this is of course for this 24-bit network 255.255.255.0. And you can also make calculation on this net mask number. In the last example, you can see what happens when you subtract 1 from this network mask with 24-bit. Of course, this is 23. And this was only a quick overview about the new functions we implemented in the version 8.3. There are many others. You can check the release notes for additional information and also the manual. We also improved in general several features. For example, as in many other versions already done, we added the list of vendors we support. For example, we have now new models for Riverbed, Motorola, Polycom, etc. You can check the release notes for a detailed list of all the added devices. We now have also extended the REST API. We have now REST API for snippets, DB variables, vulnerabilities, and the status. You can select the display name for elements in the tag tree that can be now defined. In the past, if you had an element, for example, device, there was always the device name displayed in the tag tree. Now you can define it by your own. It's, for example, possible to add the IP address in brackets behind the device name, or to only show the IP address of such a device. That can be now easily done while defining such a tag tree. And we also have now a simple tag filter, which was requested by several customers. When we introduced the tags, we also wanted to provide the power of the new tagging system, also in regards of filtering, and we have now a very flexible way to define those filters. You can make different operations and or and all logical what you are thinking about. But for some filtering, it was some more clicks necessary than in the StableNet 7. So we decided to provide additionally a simple tag filter, which I will show later in the live demo. And of course, we have some more features globally included. Once again, check the release notes for some more details. Now I will go over to the live demo to show you the new features I already mentioned. And I will start with the new simple tag filter. So one moment, please. Oops. So the simple tag filter is everywhere located where the normal tag filter is also in. But I will show you here in the default measurement tree, if you have selected in the group analyzer the interface statistic, for example, we make top 20 and we plot. So I will reduce the time a little bit. Then you will see the interface load of all interfaces you have in your network. But if you're interested in only seeing the interface traffic of Cisco devices, for example, you can use the element filter to select. And in the past, in StableNet 8, you had to use the advanced filter, but now you can also use the simple filter. And I think many which used StableNet 7 already see that this is very similar to the old filtering. Here you can select, for example, the device vendor. You can select here the device vendor as the tag category, and now select as the filter value Cisco. Press enter, and that's it. And if you click now on OK, you can see now only the interfaces from devices which are from Cisco. If you now want to see all the serial interfaces on Cisco, this is also very easy. Here, if you click on the element filter, you only have to add an additional line saying, okay, it's a measurement name if it contains serial. Okay. Then now you see all interfaces from a Cisco device with name serial in. So it's very easy, and I think most of you which were working with StableNet 7 know this filtering very well. This filter is using an AND operation. That means each line is AND connected to the following line. So if you want to have a more complex filter, you can use the advanced button, and then you see this simple filter is automatically converted to advanced filter, and now you can do whatever you want to do if you have some more specific filtering requests. This filter is available everywhere where the normal tag filter is also available. The second topic I want to show to you live here is the Syslog query. The distributed Syslog module is very powerful to read out the Syslogs from an agent. You can select an agent here and make a simple query to all your elements you're interested in. And you can see that these are the Syslog entries from the last 24 hours. You can filter very easily manually here. If you click, for example, if you click in temperature, if you're interested in temperature, you can click in enter temp. And if you click on plot, you now see all Syslogs containing the word temperature. You can scroll down and see this. And because sometimes these definitions are more complex, we also implemented the possibility to predefine query selections, so-called. Here, there are 3 predefined query selections. For example, if you want to see all authentication failures, you click on this or you select this authentication failure and on plot. And now you see all authentication failures. I still have this manual filter here. So this is because no authentication failure had the word temp in. So I have to click once again on plot, and now you see all authentication failures. You can also use temperature too high. Click on plot. And here you now have the possibility, for example, to refine your filter and say, oh, I'm only interested in, for example, in engine 31 and click on plot. Now you see all temperature TOI alarms containing the word engine 33. Or if you're interested in all critical or alert or emergency temperature TOI alarms, now we will have an additional filter on the severity here. And if you click on plot, now you only see temperature TOI alarms which have a severity of critical, alert or emergency. So these queries can be managed in the Syslog query management. You have here all definitions which can be easily modified or exported and imported, and this makes it very easy to use your predefined filters on the Syslog distributed portal. Another module we are having is the Netflow portal. It was already in the StableNet rich GUI, but we now have this portal in the web. You can see here, and this is how it looks if you start it without any filtering. You have the well-known statistics in a very nice view. You can select the top talkers, the top hosts, the top connections. There's many different parts. You see the flow statistics. Here you see how many bytes, packets, and flows are in the statistics currently used. And you can also see the flow details. So these are each, you can see each flow packet which is used to build up the statistics you currently can see here. Another advantage of the web portal, besides to the nice view, is that you can immediately modify the view. So for example, if you're not interested in the number of bytes, you can also select packets. Now you see the difference, that there are sometimes more packets used for a connection where which you don't expect perhaps. You can switch it off. You can always add a total bar. That means this is representing the total traffic based on your filter. So you can better estimate how much percentage each talker used from the total traffic. And you can also create a table containing the results in the table to show also the numbers. And what is also very nice to display is how the distribution or the usage went over time. For this, we have a time chart. Here you can see based on 5 minutes interval how the traffic was within the last 60 hours. The details can be seen here in the filter tab. So for example, if you say, oh, 5 minutes is too low, I want to see it on a more rough, you can click on 10 minutes. This is the interval for the time series. Oops. And after some recalculation, you now can see the time chart based on a 10 minutes interval. Another advantage of the Flow portal is that it has a possibility to drill down. You can very easily click on each element you're interested in, and then you see the details. Here, for example, I filtered now on one connection, and I can now see what ports were used, and I can drill down once more. For example, if I click here on this bar, I can see in detail what is the data based on this, and so I can very easily make an in-deep inspection on what traffic was going between those two devices. Okay, so this was the presentation of the Flow portal, and because I want to show you what we are also working on currently, I want to give you an outlook. At first, as you can see, we are also working on a web portal for the distributed Syslog. You can see it will look similar to the Netflow web portal, but offers the functionality of the Syslog portal. You have some filter table, or some filter entries on the right side, which you can select easily. You can select the time interval and so on, and then you can make all the things you could do in the Java GUI also on the web portal. We are also working on a next level configuration portal, which will allow you a zero-touch activation at your fingertips. When you start this portal, you can see different projects which allow you different kind of tasks to fulfill. For example, when you select the layer 3 Cisco configuration, you can, in the first step, select the devices on which this configuration shall be rolled out. In this example, we selected one device. And you can add these devices using a CSV import provided by Excel file, for example. And you can also add those resources or devices manual. You can also select the interfaces on the device which shall be configured. You can easily select or unselect the interfaces which are available on the device, and you can also add some interfaces manually or of course also import. All this information is then put together, and it depends on the job. Perhaps you can also add some information which are required for all devices as a global variable, or you can also enter it manually for each device. Normally, that should not be necessary, so you don't need any additional input for the job. Every information should be in the system, so you can immediately start with the simulation. And the simulation now offers you the config for the device, separated by the parts of the configuration. And if you click on the zoom icon, then you see for one part of the configuration how it looks like. For example, here I selected the logging, and you can see how the logging configuration for this device would look like. So if you're interested in before this configuration is rolled out. When you checked the configuration, then you can deploy in the next step the configuration, and you will get here the result that the execution succeeded. And now you have, when you have several devices, you can check the configuration or download the configuration of each device individually, or you can download all devices summarized in one zip file very easily. So this portal provides you a very easy way to configure your network. You don't need to be an expert in configuring your devices. And also one big advantage is that it is vendor independent. The configuration works vendor independent and uses the correct snippets to create the job which is required for your configuration. So I will now close this or stop this presentation of our Outlook. These are our topics which we are currently working on, and you will see those in one of our next releases. So I want now to hand over to Jessica.
Thank you very much, Matthias, for the session. I would like to thank everyone for joining us today. And as I have mentioned earlier, a recording of this webinar will be made available to all of you tomorrow via email. We will keep the session open for a few more minutes in case anyone from our audience decides to type in another question. Well, I guess that's all from us today. Matthias, do you have a final remark?
Yeah, I want to say thank you for the whole audience, and many thanks for this moderation of this presentation. Thank you, Jessica.
Okay, thank you again. Our next Global Webinar Day will be in 2 weeks on July 26th. In case you are not on our invitation list but would like to receive those invites, please send an email to newsletter@infosim.net. Thanks for joining us and enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.